Around, don't get caught in the mosh pit. Fuel to the fire, ain't nobody can stop it. Trouble in my city, but you know I'm across it. Got a 40 on my hip and I'm liable to spark it. Throw down these hits, my click is indivisible. I aim, you duck, I squeeze, now you invisible. I'm not afraid of getting physical. All these different chemicals are fogging up my visuals. Bloods on my hands, got slugs on my gunners. Yo, we notorious, we ain't no runners. Bloods on my hands, got slugs on my gunners. Yo, we some warriors, they ain't called gunners. Bloods on my hands, got slugs on my gunners. Bloods on my hands, got slugs on my gunners. Put on my sweat, put on the beat, put on the map, put on my team. Take out every motherfucker in between, know what I mean? Better myself, better my aim, better my rap, better my name. Killing rappers on my hang, I'm by their chains for the fame. Never thought I would, now I'm running. You don't wanna follow me, I'm out the fucking front.
Hello, and good evening. Thank you for joining another broadcast of Steve the Kidney Nurse. I am your host, Steve Belcher. Thank you for joining. Tonight, this is going to be a great topic, so share this broadcast because we always talk about the diet. Now we have a registered dietitian to talk about this topic tonight. And that topic is the Southern diet and kidney disease, what you need to know. And joining me tonight to discuss this topic is Kellsey Reed, licensed dietitian and nutritionist, and also owner of CKD Nutrition. But before I bring on Kellsey, I'd like to thank our team at Kibo for sponsoring this show. Steve, Mahesh, and the rest of the Kibo team, they're doing amazing things at Kibo with fighting kidney disease. So please, if you don't know about Kibo Biotech, look them up because these guys have some amazing probiotic products. So with that being said, I'd like to introduce our guest, Kellsey Reed. But let me just read something before I bring her on. It is found that people with kidney disease who regularly eat a Southern style diet of food, which consists of processed meats, fried food, sugar sweetened beverages, are 50%. That's right, 50% more likely to die early than people with kidney disease who eat healthy. That's why you see the influx of the nutritionists and the CKD dietitians on TikTok and Facebook and all the other social media sites, because they're trying to tell you this doesn't have to be a draconian diet. So without further ado, let me bring on our guest and give her the VIP welcome. I haven't used this in a long time, so I'll be happy to use it. Without further ado, Kellsey Reed. Hey, Kellsey, how you doing?
Hi, Steve. I'm great. How are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join the broadcast to talk about this important topic.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. This is something that I get asked a lot about when my clients join my coaching program, and I love chatting about it because it's so important to take into account everyone's different likes and dislikes when it comes to food with CKD, and a southern, more fried diet is something that's really popular.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Before we start the discussion, can you just tell the audience a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you are now, being the owner of CKD Nutrition?
Yeah, of course. So, for everyone out there, my name is Kellsey. I'm a kidney dietitian. I'm a registered dietitian who specializes in CKD management. So, I help people learn how to eat for their CKD for life in a healthy way so that they can protect their kidneys. And I actually used to work as a dialysis dietitian. So, for anyone who's familiar with what we do, I used to go around to dialysis patients on a regular basis and teach them how to eat while on dialysis to keep their labs looking good. And what I found out during my time as a dialysis dietitian, as Steve knows, a lot of people in the kidney community are not given adequate support that they deserve. And a lot of my dialysis patients told me, Kellsey, we weren't given anything when we were first diagnosed. We were just told, I'll see you when you need dialysis from our doctors. And to me, that is just completely unacceptable and quite frankly disgusting, because when you're diagnosed with something like chronic kidney disease, you need and you deserve all of the support in the world so that you can manage it in a healthy way. So that's when I stopped working in a dialysis center and I went on to create my private practice to help people before dialysis.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome. And Kellsey, just to reiterate to our audience, even though there's a dietitian at the facility, sometimes you have patients who fall through the cracks, especially if you have a center that has maybe, say, 30 or 40 chairs and 3 shifts with one dietitian. Isn't it easy for a patient to fall through the cracks and not get the necessary individual treatment plan, dietary plan they may need
Oh,
with a
yeah.
large unit like this?
100%. And that is such a good point. That's one of the other reasons why I love doing what I do now with my clients, because I can really work with them one-on-one. Whereas when you're working in a dialysis center, you have a whole list of patients you have to see every single day. And if you don't see them all, it's not gonna be a good situation for you. So, at one time you might have 150 patients you have to see each month. And that's a lot of work to get done. So you don't get a lot of time with everyone usually.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Okay, so on to our topic, which is very important. That's the Southern style diet or Southern fried diet, however you want
Mhm.
to frame it up. It all pretty much centers around the same thing, a Southern diet. Now, these diets, the Southern style, consist of high calorie foods of salt, phosphorus, sugar, and saturated fats. Is that right, Kellsey?
Yeah, typically that's what we think of when we think of a more Southern inspired fried foods rich diet. And the main one in there, or the main two that you named, were sodium or salt and saturated fat. Those are the two big nutrients that we're likely going to get in abundance from a style of eating like that.
Mm-hmm. Now, when we mention Southern style diet, I'm pretty much talking about the southern region,
Mhm.
which unfortunately already has a number of different areas of inequality and poor health, such as
Mhm.
stroke, heart disease, sepsis. And this style of diet plays an important role to these chronic illnesses. So, my question is, how does processed food have an impact on patients undergoing kidney dialysis that live in this region, or
Mhm.
even beyond this region that may indulge in a Southern diet?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, when it comes to kidney disease, there are so many different things that play a role in how it's managed and how your kidneys are performing on a daily basis. So, if you are receiving dialysis, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, your kidneys aren't functioning at 100%. So that machine that you are getting dialysis through is going to help your kidneys function a bit more. And so when you start to include more fried foods, more ultra processed foods, this can actually have a negative effect on your kidneys, but not just your kidneys, on your heart, on your blood sugars, on so many other aspects and other organs in your body, which then can lead to worsening of your kidneys as well. And that's the issue here. It's not just that it has an effect on your kidneys, it's that it has an effect on your heart, maybe your liver, and those things are equally as important as your kidneys.
Yes, absolutely. And it's unfortunate that, many people unknowingly, consuming these products, not knowing the long-term damage that they could be causing. Um, Let me ask you this. Do patients who eat plant-based diet and attend all their dialysis treatments have better outcomes than patients who eat poorly and not come to treatment often?
Yes, definitely. That is completely true. If you are skipping your treatments, if you are choosing foods that are not going to be as kidney friendly as other foods, then that can definitely put you at risk for poor outcomes with your CKD.
Hmm. Can you give us some examples of when we talk about the Southern diet? What would you consider like rich and saturated fat or
Mhm.
phosphorus or sugary food? Can you give us some examples of food that you
Yeah.
see?
Definitely. Now, I live in the Northeast, so I'm definitely not an expert on Southern cuisine at
Sure.
all. I'm in Philadelphia, but from what I know and from what I've seen with my clients who are located in more of the southern states in the US, it a southern diet really relies heavily on fried foods and especially deep fried foods. And then sometimes, let's say it's fried chicken, or let's say it is also baked goods. For example, one thing that comes to mind is like biscuits. Biscuits, when you go to the South on vacation or something like that, you might find biscuits on the menu at a lot of restaurants. So baked goods are going to have more sodium, more phosphorus usually. And then fried foods like fried chicken or chicken fried steak is a big one. Those foods that are deep fried are going to have more sodium and more saturated fat. And these are nutrients that we typically don't want in excess if you have kidney disease, no matter if you are on dialysis or if you have stages 1 through 5 before dialysis. So, keeping these things in mind when you are trying to navigate a Southern diet is going to be helpful.
Hmm. Hmm. Now, you have a lot of people that are walking around with undiagnosed and diagnosed diabetes. In
Mhm.
fact, um, 4.9 million um, Black adults have uh, undiagnosed or diagnosed diabetes over the age of 20. Now, with this type of rate, and people say going out and say going to, for instance, Cracker Barrel or one of these
Mhm.
buffet style restaurants that may have undiagnosed diabetes and not know it, and they're thinking, they come back with this big plate of food, fried food. Tell the people, even though someone says that they don't see the damage being done.
Mhm.
What's the long-term damage? Uh-oh, it looks like we lost Kellsey. Hopefully she come back. But my question to Kellsey was, well, will be, okay, we got her back.
I'm
Okay,
back.
that's okay. My question would be, what is the long-term
Mhm.
damage or risk for people eating fried food or always going out eating buffet style food or processed meat,
Mhm.
fried fatty food? What are the long-term consequences?
Yeah, that's a great question because you're absolutely right. When we eat foods like this, and we eat them all the time, we might not see or feel the effects right away, right? If you're used to eating a certain way your whole life, that's just normal for you. That's typical. And so we start to see this really make an impact on the body and how it works and how the organs work in our body over time. So, these effects that we can see are sometimes slow and steady effects if you are eating this way for a long period of time. So, for example, if you are eating fried foods every single day or multiple times a week, over time, that is contributing more saturated fat and sometimes trans fat to your diet, which is then going to affect your heart health overall. Same thing with sodium. If you are constantly getting more sodium than your body needs, over time, that's going to raise your blood pressure. It's going to affect your kidney health. And these are things that have long-term consequences for your health, right? They can contribute to heart disease, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, kidney disease. So it can be very detrimental.
Hmm. Hmm. So, Kellsey, what would you say to someone who, uh, requested your service and they say, Kellsey, I'm a single parent. I don't have transportation. I work 12 hours. I get off
Mhm.
late. I catch the bus. I live in an area that doesn't have a grocery store. And in fact, what's near me is a Family Dollar. How would you coach that person? Because we have millions of people living in this type of condition who say eating healthy is expensive. They can't
Mhm.
afford it or they don't have enough time to prepare their own meals because they may be working 2 to 3 jobs and trying to take care of their family or single. What kind of advice could you give a person who may be in that type of position?
Yeah, and that is completely understandable. As a maybe a mom, a dad, someone with kids, someone with family that you have to take care of, and you're working all the time and also trying to take care of your own health too. That is extremely difficult, and you have to do what you have to do at the end of the day. But some tips that I might share with you if you were to come to me and share that with me is to try and make small changes wherever you can. So, for example, if you're relying on the Family Dollar or the Dollar Tree, there is nothing wrong with that. I actually just saw an amazing video from a fellow dietitian who is based in Canada, and she was showing some really great products to get at the Dollar Tree, which is what we have over here in Philly. And she was showing frozen veggies that you can get for $1.25. And that can be a great addition to your meal because you're adding fiber, you're adding vitamins and minerals, and it's not fried. You can, cook those in the oven or the air fryer and make it a really easy side dish. And same thing with frozen fruit. You can also try and find some whole grains there, rather than maybe white bread or white rice. Try finding whole grain bread or brown rice. So, trying to make those little swaps whenever you can will be really helpful. So, choosing whole grains, choosing fruits and veggies, maybe choosing some more plant based foods like nuts, seeds, plant-based proteins, beans, legumes. Sometimes you can find those in the canned aisle, in the canned food section, and they can be a little bit more budget friendly, which is helpful.
Awesome. Yes, absolutely. And always emphasize if someone's going to shop at Dollar General or one of those Dollar Tree stores that they do have other items that
Mhm.
you can use, like like spices, herbs, bottled water, like you said, the frozen veggies.
Mhm.
But they should stay away from something like Jimmy Dean sausage sandwiches and
Right.
corn dogs and stuff like that. Chicken
Mhm.
wings from Fridays in a box. They should pretty
Yeah.
much stay away from those type of processed foods.
Yeah, if you are able to choose less ultra processed foods like, the ones that you're naming, Steve, and maybe more so of those fresher foods. And ultimately, a bag of frozen veggies, a bag of frozen fruit is probably going to cost less than a bag of processed, breakfast sandwiches or, fried chicken or something like that that's frozen. And also, when you are trying to add more plant-based foods into your diet, like I've mentioned, a lot of times those plant-based proteins are a lot cheaper than animal proteins, right? If you go to the store right now and try to buy some chicken breast, I'm sure it's going to be a lot more expensive than a can of chickpeas or, a box of lentils, right? So choosing some more plant-based proteins can actually be a little bit more budget friendly too.
Hmm. Now, this topic of Southern diet and kidney disease. I mean, I don't think a lot of people understand, especially people who may be living in the South that's uh, still on dialysis, that's
Mhm.
consuming this type of diet, or even others who enjoy the Southern diet, because as Kellsey says, when you're in dialysis, your kidneys are not processing waste and minerals like it once was. And so I don't think people understand that cardiac events is the number one cause of death in people on dialysis. So
Mhm.
if you're eating these foods and you have a high cholesterol level, or you eating other products that may be high in potassium, it could be a deadly mixture and you may not even know it. And so that's
Mhm.
why seeing a dietitian is very important. If you can't see the one at your clinic, then you're gonna have to reach out to someone like Kellsey. But Kellsey,
Mhm.
how important? Because again, you got reports, and it's just within the last maybe 10 years saying Southern style eating increased risk of death for kidney patients.
Mhm.
Another one, stroke, chronic kidney disease risk increases with Southern diet of processed meats, fried foods. So
Mhm.
someone could be still eating this and thinking just because they're on dialysis, they're going to get the stuff cleaned out, but they may
Mhm.
not even be running at a good prescription plan, meaning they could be on a small dialyzer instead of a large one. They may not run the right proper time, or they may be
Mhm.
cutting their treatment times all along, increasing their risk for a possible cardiac event. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And it's funny you mentioned that because, I used to see that happen all the time. I would have patients come into my dialysis center and bring, a bag of McDonald's or Burger King or Wendy's and say, "Well, it's okay if I eat it right now because I'm going to go on the machine." But ultimately, that's still going to affect your health and still affect your heart, your kidneys overall. So, we always want to be mindful of what we're eating and what food choices we're making because no matter what time of day it is, it's still going to affect our bodies.
absolutely. And Kellsey, I know you gave us an answer before to this, but how does a patient begin to change their diet
Mhm.
uh, if they've been eating this diet their whole life? And I know you said making small changes, but what do you do with a person who just can't see themselves making a change because they've been so ingrained in
Mhm.
eating mama fried chicken, or grandma's apple pie, or
Mhm.
Aunt Thelma's um, macaroni and cheese? How do, I mean, does mental health have to get into this, or is this something simple that it may take something bad to happen for someone to change their
Hmm.
diet, even though they know that they're at risk for cardiac event when you hear stuff like this?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And there's so many factors that come into play there,
Sure.
I think it really just depends on the person. And, some people may be more motivated when they have a health scare. And unfortunately, that is terrible to think about, that, someone might have a health scare like a heart attack, or, getting diagnosed with CKD, but some people are motivated by that. And after that happens, they might start to make more changes. But I think you're right. I think that, if someone is really not interested in making changes, it's more of a matter of talking about mental health status, and talking about, why making those changes is important. But, that's something that I used to do in the dialysis center. And that's something that, with my clients that I work with right now, I don't have to do a whole lot of, because they are highly motivated. They are dedicated to their health, and they want to make changes. But I will let you know that, when I did work in dialysis, we would involve the social worker and have a really, honest and genuine conversation about it, because everyone's different. Everyone looks at things differently. So it's important to keep in mind, that individual person's mindset with everything.
Okay. Yeah, because I was going to ask you, when you worked in a clinic, how did you motivate
Mhm.
your patient, the one that you've seen who maybe when you come around with the reports, the potassium was high because their diet, they did what they want, or their
Mhm.
phosphorus out of range, or someone who didn't comply with taking their phosphorus binders. What methods did you use to kind of help motivate the patient to see what they were doing was pretty much detrimental?
Yeah. I like to take the approach of talking to someone like they're another human being, and just saying, "Hey, what's going on? What are you thinking right now? What are you feeling? Because we have to work through this, and I want to keep you as healthy as possible. And do you want that for yourself too?" Because, some people don't, and that's their prerogative, but it's important to have these open and honest conversations about it, but also let you know that, these are the risks, and we really want to be mindful of them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, let me ask you, because I know you work with a lot of patients
Mhm.
who have different um, illnesses. Now, if someone's just been told that or been diagnosed with diabetes,
Mhm.
hypertension, or kidney disease, say they just came from the doctors and they online, and you see them on TikTok or Facebook group, and it's like, I just been diagnosed or told I got stage 2 or stage 3 kidney disease. How soon should they see a nutritionist or a dietitian
Mm.
once they've been told that diagnosis? Or even so, before that, if they went to the doctors and they was told that they had protein in the urine, how
Mhm.
soon should they see or talk with a dietitian?
Yeah, that's a good question. I always suggest the number one thing you should do is find a supportive doctor, healthcare team that's going to support you through this diagnosis, through this health journey. And then the second thing is to find a kidney dietitian, or a dietitian that specializes in, whatever issue you have going on at the moment, because there is so much you can do with managing kidney health, heart health, blood sugar health through nutrition. So a dietitian is going to be your expert to show you how to do that.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to address this question from Catwoman on YouTube. Thank you,
Mhm.
Catwoman, for making this comment. She said, she said to have more fruits and veggie, but a lot of fruit and veggie contains potassium. Too much potassium isn't good for our kidneys. How would you address that question?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I appreciate you asking. So, when it comes to potassium, every single person with CKD needs a different amount of potassium to stay healthy each day. And we get potassium from the foods that we eat. We might also get it from medications that we're on too, like certain blood pressure medications. And so, It's important to keep in mind that just because you might need less potassium doesn't mean that someone else with CKD needs less potassium. Now, if you're on dialysis, you probably need a lower potassium diet, but working with your dietitian at the dialysis center is going to really help you to know exactly how much you need. Every single person has different nutrient needs, and it's important to keep that in mind. It's also important to keep in mind that fruits and vegetables are not the only foods with potassium. So, chicken and beans and steak and shrimp also have potassium. So, fruits and vegetables should be included in everyone's diet, no matter who you are, no matter what condition you have. They are one of the most kidney-friendly foods out there. So, you definitely do not need to limit fruits and vegetables, but working with a dietitian will help you know how much you can have each day.
In fact, Kellsey, when someone starts dialysis, and not even that, when they work with a nutrition, like you said, they have an individual nutritional plan, meaning like how much sodium you can get per day, how much phosphorus, how much potassium, how much calcium. Isn't that right? Like you go over an individualized, detailed diet plan with each patient, and because you got to account for their weight, and other factors that play a part, like their protein level or their eating. I mean, it's a lot that you have to take in place with this when you're looking at treating CKD. Isn't that right, Kellsey?
Oh yeah, exactly. And as a dietitian in a dialysis center, every single dietitian in the US that works in a dialysis center is required to calculate your nutrient needs. So even if you are watching this and you're on dialysis and you're saying to yourself, my dietitian never told me anything about this, go and ask them the next time you're there, because they have to have it written down and they have to have it recorded. That is part of what we call a nutrition assessment on a patient.
Assessment.
Yep. So every single person has different needs. They're very individualized based on, weight, like you said, and so many other things. So if you're not sure what your nutrient needs are, go and ask your dietitian. Or if you're not working with one, if you're not on dialysis, find a dietitian to help you get that information.
Okay. Yeah, customized, Tanya Knox said. And also, Tanya, thank you for commenting and asking this question, or made this comment. She says that's great, but your New Jersey body, I'm not sure what they mean by that, needs protein on dialysis. And then she says to heal wounds. I know what she meant. She corrected that. But talk about that, because that's been a big thing in dialysis recently. Patients getting Liquicell, a protein drink after dialysis. And can you let the audience know the reason why they may be getting that? Far as it's a protein supplement, but can you just explain on why they add in this additional supplement?
Yes, definitely. So, like I said, nutrition is so different when you're on dialysis versus when you're not on dialysis. So, people who might have CKD stages 1 through 5 and they're not on dialysis will have very different protein needs than someone who's on dialysis. And this is because when you're on dialysis and you're getting it done, 3 to 4 times a week, the dialysis machine is actually taking some nutrients out of your body, which can be a good thing, right? Excess phosphorus, excess potassium, sodium, but it also takes out some protein. So sometimes we need to replenish that in your body. And so ultimately, it's up to your dietitian and your nurses and the doctor at the dialysis center to determine, how much protein you need and if you're getting enough from what you're eating on a daily basis. So if they don't think you're getting enough for your body, for your health, they might recommend the Liquicell or a protein bar, or another type of protein supplement, depending on what dialysis center you're going to. And so this might be one reason, but also Tanya's right. There is evidence to show that protein helps with wound healing too. So if you have certain wounds on your body, they might want to give you more protein for that. But ultimately it really comes down to the individual person, right? You might be sitting here thinking, no, I get enough protein. And that might be perfectly right. But someone down the street from you might not be getting enough protein. Maybe they don't really feel like eating all the time. So it's important to keep that in mind too.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a lot of factors that play into that. I was just sitting here thinking about that while you were speaking. Like
Mhm.
when someone is sick and they're in a hospital, they may not have an appetite.
Right.
And when they come out,
Mhm.
and if you're not eating because you don't have an appetite, they may want to give you protein supplement to help your albumin level come up
Mhm.
until you get that appetite back. Because I'm sure someone just getting out of the hospital, they may not feel like eating any chicken or some of that meat that has the add, the protein that they want you to have,
Mhm.
like what
Yeah.
the fish and the uh, uh, what veal and
Mhm.
seafood.
Yeah, exactly. And, depending on what's going on in your life, you're right. You might not have a good appetite, and that's okay. There's other ways that you can get the right amount of protein for your body, and that's another way that you can do that.
Hmm. So, Kelsey, let me ask you, when you was working as a dialysis dietitian, and even now in your private practice, um, did you see family play a part with your client that you were assisting with dialysis? Did you see family play a part, or should
Mhm.
family play a part when they have somebody with, you know, kidney disease or dialysis? They shouldn't just maybe take them to the clinic and drop them off, but shouldn't they be involved in their nutritional status as well?
Yes, 100%. You might not want to have your family involved, and that's okay. But having a support system around you during something like dialysis or dealing with CKD before dialysis is going to be really helpful for you. And when I worked in the dialysis centers, I would actually talk to the family members of my patients quite a bit, and they would be heavily involved in the nutrition care process that I use with my patients. So I would call my patients' family members on a regular basis and say, "Hey, this is how, so and so is doing." And they told me that, they're feeling good and their appetite's good. Any questions that you have, any comments, do you want to come in for a meeting? So it's really helpful to have the whole family or your whole support system involved so that one, everyone's on the same page, but two, so that you can kind of go forth in this journey together and not feel so alone in it.
And that's another thing. What kind of tips can you give someone who's just recently been diagnosed
Mhm.
or put on dialysis and they have a family and teenage kids, and say the family eats dinner together? So does that mean that now that the diet has changed for the person with kidney failure or kidney disease, does the diet have to change for the rest of the family?
That's a good question. And I deal with this too in my private practice now. The diet for your whole family doesn't necessarily have to completely change. There are things that you can do to tweak it and customize it a little bit so that, you're happy with what you're eating and your family's happy. So, one thing that I like to suggest for a lot of my clients who have family members that they eat with on a daily basis is to take your meals that you're already making. Let's say you guys always have Taco Tuesday and you always have beef tacos with your family. Well, maybe you want to try a more plant-based diet and you would like to have bean tacos, but your family's not really into that. Maybe you make a little small portion of beans for yourself and, give the beef portion to your family, but everything else you guys share and you are able to enjoy together. So those little tweaks can be really helpful. Same thing with pizza night. I know some of my clients like to make pizza. And when we hear the word pizza, we don't always think kidney friendly, and it's not always the most kidney friendly choice, but you can make it homemade with your family, and maybe they're putting on pepperoni on their pizza and you're putting on mushrooms and onions and peppers, right? So these little changes that we can make to our family meal can allow us to all enjoy it together still.
Oh, I agree. I agree. And I agree it's important that everyone plays a part in the person dealing with the chronic illness when
Mhm.
it comes to diet. That definitely matters because they may not know that, you know, bananas have a lot of potassium in it, or
Mhm.
certain foods have a lot of phosphorus.
Right.
So, yeah. So let's kind of shift the gears just a little bit. Still talking about prevention and what can be added to help with dietary promotion. Um, how can a probiotic supplement something like Renadel that I think is widely underused? And before we
Mhm.
talk about this product, I like to say, make a disclaimer that this product hasn't been evaluated by the FDA, so it's not intended to treat, cure, or diagnose any symptoms. But with that being said, um, we often don't hear about probiotics.
Mhm.
We don't. I don't see anything on it other than this product on social media sites. But as a
Mhm.
dietitian, can you tell the audience the benefits of using a probiotic, not just Renadel, because this helps maintain kidney health, but any probiotic? How important is to adding a probiotic in your life is?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, one of the reasons why I always talk with my clients about gut health and taking probiotics, or, in conjunction with that, using other techniques to promote your gut health. There are many studies out there. I was just looking at one today about the importance of gut health with kidney disease, and it's so interesting that our gut microbiome plays such a huge role in how our kidneys function and how the progression of our CKD can unfold. And actually, when we are taking care of our gut health, it can actually improve our kidney health overall and our kidney function. And, the studies in particular that I've seen out there have shown that taking probiotics, especially Renadiol, and, following a gut friendly diet, making lifestyle changes for our gut health can actually help to reduce the uremic toxins in our body. And that can be really beneficial for our kidneys because it's actually helping our kidneys get rid of those toxins and waste products.
Yes. And in fact, I don't know if you know, Kelsey, I'm taking this product and I have stage 2 kidney disease. Back in June of 2022, I went to see my nephrologist and I saw that my GFR had went down to 80, but I knew it was my diet and I was doing all the
Mhm.
wrong things. So I made a shift, start taking Renadel, changed my diet, um, add some exercise, and then in October of 2022, it came up to 87, my GFR.
Yeah.
Then I continued to use the product and make my lifestyle changes. And 3 weeks ago, or around the 8th of January, I did a stat lab and my GFR was 92. Yes.
Wow.
Yes, I was so happy. I mean, and that's, even though I still got kidney disease, but
Mhm.
like you said, the small steps and the lifestyle changes, you can halt the progression. Even if you
Mhm.
got diabetes or hypertension, if you manage those conditions, it can, further, possibly further prevent you from moving forward to full blown kidney failure.
Mhm.
So
Wow.
I just think probiotics are being underutilized. Now, let me ask you this, which I've seen a lot of people ask this question.
Mhm.
If someone's already on dialysis, what would
Mhm.
be the benefits of using this product?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I believe that the study that was done by the Kibo and some other organizations, were looking more at people who were not on dialysis. But if we think about people who are receiving dialysis on a regular basis, gut health is still really important for them. And yes, we can make lifestyle changes, but probiotics and prebiotics can help to replenish and feed the good gut bacteria in our gut microbiome, which is what we want to happen on a regular basis. So, gut health can still play a role in kidney disease when you're on dialysis. And we don't always know a whole lot about it. There's a lot more research that's needed for it, and I'm seeing a lot more come out more and more recently. But reducing those uremic toxins and protecting the gut is still going to be beneficial for those on dialysis.
Now, I know you're not a physician, but do you think, and this is just my opinion, that I feel that can happen if someone who's on dialysis took this product? Is it possible if they stayed on their whole treatment time,
Mm-hmm.
changed their diet, like really uh, stayed to a renal diet and took
Mm-hmm.
Renadil, is it possible they could see a increase in their KT over V?
That's a great question. And actually, I don't 100% know the answer to that. I would love to ask a nephrologist, especially one that works in dialysis, because you would think that, yeah, it could contribute to an improved KT over V and an improvement in the way that your body is cleaning the blood, right? Which would be amazing. But I know that I believe there's a study out there that says that, probiotics and protecting your gut health while you're on dialysis can actually help to just improve your quality of life too, which is really important, right? Maybe you are going to the bathroom more regularly. Maybe you're not as constipated. Maybe you feel better. Maybe you have more energy. Those are also things to keep in mind too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And also, how important is adding a fiber to your diet, such like a product that Kibo Biotech makes, like Kibo Fortis, which
Mhm.
is a revolutionary dietary supplement that manages digestive health. How important is adding a fiber supplement to your diet?
Yeah, fiber is one of the most important things that you can add to your diet in whatever way works best for you. And if you can get in more fiber on a regular basis, that is going to help your heart health, your cholesterol levels, blood pressure, blood sugar levels, and overall kidney health. So if you feel like you're not getting enough fiber from the foods that you're eating, then taking a supplement can be the next best thing to get in that fiber. I have clients who take fiber supplements because they really just can't get it in from what they're eating, and this is something that can really really help your overall gut health too, to feed that gut bacteria.
And wouldn't that also promote digestive health as far as um, someone who may have issues with constipation,
Mhm.
unrelated to any medical condition, but just overall constipation, which I hear a lot of kidney patients say they have, and we um, tell them or suggest Miralax.
Mhm.
But with the fiber health, couldn't that help with regulatory um, bowel movements and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, definitely. If you're not getting in enough fiber on a daily basis, it could really cause constipation and other bowel issues. So if you start to get that fiber in that your body needs, it can help you go more regularly, and then ultimately you can have a healthier gut, healthier bowels, and also when you are constipated, that can lead to high potassium levels. So it
Mm,
can help regulate potassium a little bit more as well.
wow, wow, yeah. All right, this has been a lot of information. So one
Yes.
more, we're kind of coming down to the end of the show, and I know you're a very busy person. So, but my last question, um, can there be a balance in eating a Southern diet and healthy food? Because you may have individuals watching this and say, well, okay, I don't want to give up eating Southern food
Mhm.
or Southern diet, but I know that I have to eat healthy. So I want to try to intertwine the two. So as a nutritionist, can there be a healthy balance between the two in consuming the two diets, like eating a healthy diet and eating a Southern diet?
Yeah, definitely. I think that there can be a nice balance where you are still enjoying those foods that you love. Maybe they're more cultural foods for you. Maybe they're foods that you grew up eating, and they're really important to you. But you can also choose other more kidney-friendly options in addition to those comfort foods or those favorite foods that you love. So maybe you're not willing to give up some of those more southern fried foods, and maybe you start to add in other foods that are more kidney friendly, like more fruits, more vegetables, more whole grains, healthy fats. Maybe you cook your meats or your chicken with olive oil or avocado oil instead of butter, or a different type of oil that maybe you're deep frying it in. Maybe you cook it in the air fryer or the oven
Mm,
instead of the deep fryer. So there's different ways that you can really tweak the foods that you're eating and add more kidney friendly foods into your diet to have that nice balance. Now, when it comes to eating a more southern or fried food diet, we really want to keep in mind the sodium, the phosphorus, and also the saturated fat. So trying some different foods in your diet that can help to reduce the sodium, phosphorus, or saturated fat that you're getting can be really helpful. Oh no, I might have lost you. I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I had my microphone off. I said, I know some people may say that I can't always eat healthy. I got to have my guilty pleasure or my piece of chicken or this or that. But I mean, pretty much it has to be in moderation.
Yep. Moderation and really adding in those other kidney friendly foods to
Hmm.
supplement. Maybe you're having a smaller portion of that fried food and adding other things too.
Oh, absolutely. Like some fruits and vegetables.
Yep. Yep. Totally.
Yeah. And don't forget to exercise, guys. You can't eat this food and have a sedentary lifestyle. You gotta move. Isn't that right, Kelsey?
Yes, exercise and any type of body movement, physical activity is so important. Any way that you can get that in, whether it's working out in a chair, maybe doing yoga, swimming, going for a walk, that's going to be helpful for you. And I always hear people say, "Well, I can only do a 5-minute walk today." And guess what? That 5-minute walk is better than a 0-minute walk, right? So
Mm,
anything you can do is going to be helpful.
mm, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, man, this has been a great conversation. Kelsey, how can people find you and see your videos and stuff like that?
Yeah, so you can find me at ckdnutrition.com. I have some free resources on there. I have a free restaurant guide for CKD. I also have a free Facebook community. So you can go ahead and join my Facebook community. It is CKD Nutrition Free Community, and we give tons of tips and tricks for
Mm.
eating for your kidney disease and recipes too. You can also find me on Instagram and TikTok at CKD Nutrition, ckd.nutrition.coach.
Wow. And see, guys, you can't say, you're watching this and like, oh, I can't find no healthy stuff. I can't find a dietitian with any information. She has a lot of free information. You just got to go get it. I mean,
Mhm.
that's all you
Yep.
had to do. The information is out there. I mean, it's great information. You just have to come and get it. It's like leading a horse to water.
Yep. Exactly. And, if you are on dialysis, don't forget that you have a dietitian at your dialysis center. So go ahead next time you're there, ask to see the dietitian and chat with them if you have questions.
And what if they're not happy with their dietitian, or they say their dietitian not really being, beneficial to them? What would you suggest then?
Yeah. So if you're finding that you're not getting the support that you want from your dietitian, reach out to other kidney dietitians out there. You can actually go to the National Kidney Foundation website, NKF, and you can search for renal dietitians like myself. Now, the great thing too is that there are so many renal dietitians out there now, especially online, like myself. So you can, look up on Instagram, on TikTok, renal dietitian, on Facebook, and get so much free information too.
Absolutely, because 10 years ago, it wasn't like this. You didn't
Mhm.
hardly or never seen a dietitian on social media giving out like free tips and information because they
Mhm.
busy in the clinic.
Yeah, exactly. And now there's a wealth of information out there. You just got to look for it, and you just got to look for it online, on social media. So much good information.
Absolutely, absolutely. Kelsey, I know you got to go. Thank you so much for coming on, and I look forward to talking to you in the future about other great nutritional topics that are important to kidney warriors and other people that deal with chronic illnesses. So again, thank you so much for coming on.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, and I wish you a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, you too, Kelsey. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye bye. Guys, this has been a wonderful show. I'd like to thank the team at Kibo Biohealth out of Pennsylvania. Let me tell you, before I heard of them, I didn't even know about probiotics, prebiotics. And I seen them at this uh, AAKP meeting in Washington, D.C. And I looked at it. I walked past the booth and I looked at it and I saw something that said kidney health dietary supplement. And I know the AAKP ain't going to have just anybody in their meeting at the vendors pole talking about some kidney health supplement. So I knew something had to be up with these guys. And I looked and I was like, my God. And I thought about the same way that they use the phosphorus binders for phosphorus, the Phoslow. It's the same concept. It's just the Phoslow is not no probiotic. It just happens to bind the phosphorus in the gut so it can be eliminated through the stools. This one is a probiotic, and it eats the nitrogenesis waste in the blood, and it's eliminated through the stools, thus helping reduce workload on the kidney. So this product is underused. I'd like to thank the team at Kibo Bio. Has some smart guys up there. We're talking about biotechnology, okay, that you would think, oh, what are they doing? And you'd probably be thinking they're trying to do stem cells or something on a kidney, but no. They're making a probiotic, not just for kidney health, but for overall health, digestive health, cardiac health. So if you're not familiar with these guys, look them up, www.gotemonhead.renadale.com or Kibo Biotech. I'd like to thank these guys for sponsoring the show and really coming up with these products that are very beneficial to the population in dealing with kidney health or kidney problems. So with that being said, I'd like to thank everyone who joined the show and who made a comment in my comment feed. Like to thank Angela Mason, Tanya Cox, June Duran. Who else joined me on Facebook? Who else we have here that I saw? Oh, PJ Williams, Catwoman from YouTube, Miss Elizabeth Oldham from YouTube, Latasha Gardner, Steve from Kibo Biotech. Thank you guys for comment. I'd like to thank everyone else for joining the show. And please join us for next broadcast of Steve. Be on lookout. You'll see the next one coming up soon. Thank you and have a great evening.
Warriors around, don't get caught in the mosh pit. Fuel to the fire, ain't nobody can stop it. Trouble in my city, but you know I'm across it. Got a 40 on my hip and I'm liable to spark it. Throw down these hits, my click is indivisible. I aim, you duck, I squeeze, now you invisible. I'm not afraid of getting physical. All these different chemicals are fogging up my visuals. Bloods on my hands, got slugs on my gunners. Yo, we notorious, we ain't no runners. Bloods on my hands, got slugs on my gunners. Yo, we some warriors, they ain't called gunners. Bloods on my hands, got slugs on my gunners. Bloods on my hands, got slugs on my gunners. Put on my strap, put on the beat, put on the map, put on my team. Kick out every motherfucker in between, know what I mean? Better myself, better my aim, better my rap, better my name. Killing rappers on my hang, I'm by their chains for the fame. Never thought I would, and now I'm running.